This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Now it's 6. Your child is headed back to school, and for many, that means hunkering down in a hallway during a tornado drill. I'm Colts Investigates Kara Kenny with why the state says there's a better way to protect kids.
Well, you'll want to grab the bug spray if you're headed to this park in Carmel. Mosquitoes have recently tested positive for the West Nile virus. I'm Stephanie Wade with what the city is doing to keep people safe.
Indigo's new Redline is not only changing the way cars drive, but how bikes get through town. I'm Cameron Riddle. Tonight on RTV6, we'll show you the new rules of the bike lane.
And we begin now at 6, working for you and highlighting a safety concern as children head back to school. Safety is first and foremost for parents and school leaders.
But our Call 6 Investigates team has learned that the Department of Homeland Security is concerned that the buildings your children spend their day in are not as safe as they could be. Call 6 Investigates Kara Kenny joins us tonight at 6 with what she found out. Kara?
Raphael, I'm in an interior hallway right now, and chances are during a tornado drill, this is where your child will be, probably hunkered down against the wall like this. That's because many schools in Indiana do not have a basement and they do not have a tornado shelter. But the Indiana Department of Homeland Security says there has to be a better way to protect children.
Safety is number one when it comes to their education, too. Kids need a safe environment.
Nicole Purley is a mother of 2, and she worries about tornadoes, especially after Henryville's 2012 deadly tornado.
These are our babies. These are our kids that we're talking about, and we need to put their safety first and foremost.
The Indiana Department of Homeland Security says Indiana is rated one of the highest when it comes to tornado risk.
As we build more things, there will be more people potentially at risk.
This can happen anywhere.
Anywhere across the state.
Indiana averages 22 tornado touchdowns a year. One study ranked the Hoosier State at 17th highest for tornado damage costs, $500 million in damage from 1996 to 2017. Our schools and our students are often in the path of destruction. Despite these risks, Indiana has no laws or building codes in place requiring schools to have tornado shelters.
Every school and every child are potentially impacted by tornadoes.
Rural and urban areas are both at risk. Just like last month, a tornado damaged parts of Beech Grove High School, and rural areas have seen devastating damage like this one that hit Henryville 7 years ago. Call 6 Investigates found a bunch of other states with rules requiring shelters in newly constructed schools, including our neighbors in Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan. Some of those states average fewer tornadoes than Indiana. There's no state requirement that says a school has to have a shelter.
No, not at this time.
Okay, and there's nothing that says building a new school, you have to have a tornado shelter.
No, you're correct.
And the Department of Homeland Security says Indiana is at high risk for tornadoes. But what does that really mean? I'm here with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory. And Kevin, a lot of people think about tornadoes as a summer problem, but really they can happen any time of the year, including when the students are in session, right?
And they've happened every month of the year. If you think about tornado outbreaks, Indiana's been a part of nearly every major tornado outbreak. We average 23 tornadoes per year in the Hoosier State. April, May and June are the peak months for tornadoes, but if you look beyond, anytime we're making a seasonal change, there is an increased risk. So a secondary peak in tornado frequency in November, and as I mentioned, even with snow on the ground, we've had tornadoes in Indiana.
Kevin with the insight and Kara with the investigation. We'll continue our coverage tonight on the news at 11. Although there's no law requiring tornado shelters, as you heard from Kara, our Call 6 team learned there is funding available to schools to build shelters to protect your kids. But here's the problem. Many schools are not applying for those dollars. Tonight on the news at 11, we'll show you how much money is available, how your schools can apply, and exactly how that money works to keep your kids safe. That's tonight on the news at 11.
You better bring the bug spray if you're outside this summer. 2 central Indiana counties have found mosquitoes that tested positive for the West Nile virus, Marion and Hamilton counties. RTV6's Stephanie Wade is in Carmel tonight. She explains what the city is doing now to protect people.
Right, and most definitely. Growing up, it's like, oh, okay, it did.
And we will follow up with that story. Obviously, there was technical difficulties there. And the Meadowlark Park is just one of 6 parks that will undergo renovations next year. Once they start planning this fall, there will be an opportunity for public input to best address the needs of the community.
New bike lanes are popping up in downtown Indianapolis, and that means some significant changes for drivers as well as for those bicyclists. RTV6's Cameron Riddle is working for you tonight, showing us all how to navigate all of those changes.
Indigo's new Redline is not only changing the way drivers are getting their cars through downtown Indianapolis, it's also changing the way bicyclists get from point A to B. Before the Redline officially rolls through Indianapolis, new bike lanes are already open for business, and that means changes for Hoosiers on 2 wheels and 4.
We removed the bike lane on Capitol Avenue going south, and because of that, we added the bike lane here on Illinois.
That new 2-way bike lane leaves 1 fewer lane for drivers headed north on Illinois. What was a lane of parking on the side of the street is now the bike lane, leaving some drivers confused on where to park. As the traffic pattern changes, so does the rules. Now that these bike lanes are here, as that driver down there is learning right now, this is a no parking lane, and as the police have just informed them, you can get a ticket for parking in the bike lane. The new bike lane also comes with new poles meant to protect bikes from car traffic. And that is welcome news to Karen Jackson Gray, a New Yorker turned Hoosier and avid biker.
I gave my car away because I have access to the bike lanes, I have access to the buses, and I think it's marvelous that they're really specializing a special place for us cyclists. I really appreciate that.
While the new bus lane is taking away space for drivers trying to leave downtown, Gray says what the city is gaining is priceless.
It's a great attraction for those of us who want to ride. I mean, I will feel even safer knowing that those barriers are there and that the motorists will say, oh, that's a bike lane, they're behind the bike lane, I've got to respect that.
And let's literally walk you through this. Literally, right here is the north and south bike lanes on Illinois. Then over here on the other side of these new traffic barriers is where drivers will park their cars. And then finally, remaining in the street are those now 2 traffic lanes that drivers have to park, and then 1 additional parking lane on the other side of Illinois. Working for you tonight, I'm Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Be aware and pay attention to all of those changes. As Cameron mentioned, those new bike lanes are already open. The buses will start using that red line beginning on September the 1st. Now to Democracy 2019, and it appears an independent candidate's run for mayor of Indianapolis is now over. John Schmitz was trying to get on the ballot for the November election, but he came up short on signatures after many were invalidated. Schmitz appealed many of those signatures this morning, but the Marion County Election Board unanimously rejected his appeal. More than 1,100 signatures Schmitz collected were ruled invalid due to issues with addresses. After the hearing, Schmitz said he will not stop his appeals until he's on the ballot this fall.
If you think you could be a victim of the Equifax data breach, listen up. The Indiana Attorney General has a warning out tonight about fake websites that claim to be a part of the Equifax breach settlement. The correct website is equifaxbreachsettlement.com, but make sure you spell it correctly. Scammers are creating imposter websites to try to get your personal information. If you were impacted, you could get up to $20,000. To file a claim, make sure you go to the legitimate website. You can find the link in the story on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com.
Here's a touching story. Tomorrow, superheroes will join in the celebration of life of a young Delaware County boy who lost his battle with brain cancer. You may recall we shared 8-year-old Christian Doherty's story with you back in April. And that's when Batman, as you can see, surprised Christian at Albany Elementary School. The Cape Crusader had lunch with Christian and another student who was battling leukemia. A Christian passed away on Friday at Riley Hospital for Children. He loved superheroes, and tomorrow they will help celebrate his life and say goodbye. His funeral will be at the Horizon Convention Center in Muncie at 3. Visitation is prior to that service from 11 to 3. A Christian's dad says the plan is for superheroes to serve as pallbearers, and Batman in the Batmobile will lead the way to the cemetery in Albany. Next on the news at 6, a new effort to keep people on the job and help with real-life barriers.
Plus, it's billed as the first of its kind, the truck hoping to dish out food and a serving of hope for those looking for work.
And the Colts work week getting back to work here in Westfield at Grand Park. Things just wrapping up, but no Andrew Luck. Not now and not anytime soon. Tell you why coming up.
Dave does not need to look over his shoulder for showers or thunderstorms in Hamilton County. A little different scenario down in Decatur County near Greensburg and Batesville. Some all-out downpours. We'll find a few more, but then talk about a changing pattern.
This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Now at 6, the diabetes treatment Trulicity helped push Eli Lilly to a better than expected second quarter. It led the company to raise its 2019 economic forecast. The Indianapolis-based pharmaceutical company said revenue from Trulicity, the once-weekly diabetes treatment, it climbed 32% to $1 billion. Overall, Lilly earned $1.33 billion in the 3-month period that ended June the 30th. That compares to a loss of more than $260 million in last year's quarter.
RTV6's Hiring Hoosiers initiative aims to connect Hoosiers to employment opportunities and to expose barriers employees may face and provide solutions. IU Health is attempting to bridge the work-life balance gap with their housekeeper employees by making a new resource available to them. IU Health Methodist and University Hospitals employ about 300 housekeepers, and Riley employs more than 100. Right now, they need to fill more than 40 positions just at the adult hospitals downtown. In an effort to halt the high turnover, IU Health has hired a social worker to help service employees with issues that impact their work.
For us, we really wanted to make it, how could we make it easier so that they weren't leaving because they had difficulties. A lot of times there's attendance issues because of the car or because of child care or parental care. And so we really wanted to be able to break this down and help them, not only with our own services, but what community services could help them as well.
If they see success with this pilot social worker, IU Health plans to add more social workers to not only the housekeeping staff, but also at more hospitals and departments across the state. No previous training or credentials are required to apply for a housekeeping position at IU Health. Once hired, the hospital will provide the training needed. There are full and part-time positions as well as supplemental positions and hours for people looking for a second job. For more info about how to apply, go to hiringhoosiers.com.
In the spirit of Hiring Hoosiers, a new first-of-its-kind food truck right here in central Indiana is now open and serving up new employment for Hoosiers with disabilities. New Hope of Indiana has been working for weeks on the opening of what they call Cheese and Thank You. The food truck that serves mac and cheese with toppings like bacon and barbecue and chicken and veggies every Monday. It's a unique job training program for adults with disabilities.
They will prove that the whole world that people with disability can work as well as people without disability.
New employees like Richie, who just met there, are learning about the food service industry, sales, marketing, customer service, and business practices. The truck is open every Monday in the parking lot of the New Hope of Indiana. It's located at 3901 West 86th Street. You can find more information on our website at theindychannel.com.
Looks like a great program there. 2 central Indiana counties have found mosquitoes that tested positive for the West Nile virus. Marion and Hamilton counties. RTV6's Stephanie Wade is in Carmel tonight. She explains what the city is doing now to protect people.
Wet conditions and standing water have been an issue that one man we spoke with says he brought to the city's attention a few years ago. Now, as mosquitoes have tested positive for the West Nile virus here at this park, he wants to make sure that steps are being taken to keep people safe.
When I sent something 3 years ago, no one responded to it, but I think now this is a lot more in the news because it has been found in several counties in Indiana.
In 5 counties, actually, according to the state health department, mosquitoes have tested positive for the West Nile virus this year. One area is right here at Meadowlark Park in Carmel. Someone who wasn't surprised to find this out was Marshall Anditch. He says he voiced concerns about the standing water and mosquitoes to the city a few years ago. The Hamilton County Health Department does testing at this park on a weekly basis. They have traps, and if they see anything, they immediately spray. The Carmel Parks and Recreation Director tells me they're also taking steps to make improvements at this park, dedicating about $3.1 million from the Clay Township Impact Program to replace the existing playground, fishing pier, and other amenities.
Hopefully that will resolve any issues.
Some of the areas where the water stands were originally wetlands, and looking at converting them back to wetlands so that they have a more natural balance. So we're looking at doing things like that, making sure that our playgrounds and our shelter are not in the lowest part of the park.
Working for you in Carmel, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
And the sun shining in central Indiana today. A few thunderstorms to the south. There are many things to do with a hula hoop, many of which I cannot accomplish. I like that. Look at that. What a great day. Temperatures in the 80s, upper 80s for the high. We hit 87 today. Down to Bloomington, the clouds will fade away. You've had showers and thunderstorms most recently over Lake Monroe. They're to the south and east of you now. Look what happens once we get past this evening with the southern Indiana thunderstorms. It's dry right on through the weekend. As far as our radar showing showers and thunderstorms, the heaviest rainfall is right along Interstate 74 near Batesville. Some other fading showers for now right over Greensburg. They drift to the southeast, and they kind of go through a life cycle, 45 minutes or so, fade away and build the next thunderstorm down the road, so to speak. You can see just south of Nashville, southern portion then of Brown County, a shower there. Next couple of hours, and that will about do it. This is the transition taking place. Our wind is now coming out of the northwest. That will do two things. It will lower the humidity. It will also lower the temperature into the 50s in some outlying spots tonight. Comfortable temperatures on the way. 81 in Cass County, 81 also for Marion, 85 in Frankfort. Temperatures below average today, or above average today, will go below average for the next couple of days. If you've had recent rainfall, that cuts down the temperature, at least temporarily. The sky will gradually clear for all of us tonight. That sets the stage for temperatures with the north wind and the drier air to fall to 75 by 10 o'clock, but in spots upper 50s in the morning. Here are the Indianapolis low temperatures over the next several days. You get the idea. We'll start comfortably and stay relatively cool during the afternoon hours tomorrow, especially north of Indianapolis. You'll struggle to hit the 80-degree mark tomorrow. 79 in Peru and Lafayette, 82 in the metro area. With the low humidity, will feel great. A few clouds around on Thursday. Temperature still at 83 degrees, and we continue to step into our dry stretch. Temperatures across the state on Thursday, whereas you miss the 80-degree mark to the north in spots tomorrow. Everybody should be at 80 degrees or warmer as we get to the afternoon hours. Still a dry weekend, 86, the warmer of the 2 days over the weekend. The humidity, even though temperatures coming up, will stay fairly steady. It will never get too humid. Early next week, the chance for thunderstorms returns, especially by Tuesday. 7-day plan on dry conditions and the green light for whatever it happens to be. Mowing the lawn, getting out and just enjoying some fishing, boating, biking, whatever you want to do. We're dry the next 5 days.
Kevin G, thank you so much.
Dave First is standing by with sports. Hey, Dave.
Yeah, not the best of days at Colts camp. This is the only time Andrew Luck made it out to the main practice area about 35 minutes after the morning session was over. That's because Luck only took part in the walkthrough, worked out by himself, did plenty of throwing, but no practice. That calf strain proving more nagging than he really originally thought. Good evening. It's a bit of deja vu, right? The Colts, and more to the point, Luck taking a very conservative approach with this calf injury, which goes back to May now. And as a result, he'll continue to sit out the next couple of days. The earliest he might return to the full workout would be Saturday.
I say lower leg because I feel pain in my ankle area and calf strain, and I guess I'll get a little specific. I've had images and x-rays and everything, and my Achilles is not at extra risk.
Let's get this thing right. We still got plenty of time to go, and listen, we're dealing here with a guy who knows how to deal with this stuff.
I've made progress ever since I've started working on this issue, but the progress wasn't enough.
I was optimistic that we could get through these 4 days and just keep going, but you know, you feel what you feel.
The situation changes. It's organic. It evolves, and I should be going forward. And why I'm not out here today practicing was because I felt like I was going backwards. And I guess that's the simple story at the end of the day.
All right, so no one is saying Luck will miss any games this season. In fact, he made the point of saying he's played in worse pain and believes he'll be ready for Week 1, September 8th out in L.A., but he's certainly missed a couple of games in his career, right? So Jacoby Brissett be on notice. Rest of today's workout, certainly the garden variety training camp, although no new news on defensive end Jabal Sheard still out with that knee injury right now. 2 more weeks and 2 more morning workouts this week, beginning tomorrow. Another 9 a.m. start at Grant Park in Westfield. Hey, hope you join us tonight on the news at 11. We go up into the stands, the grand stands. Today was also Grandparents' Day. Several families working out. Some hilarious results. Tonight at 11, our Sports Extra Spotlight. In baseball, Indians wrapping up their quick 2-game set against Louisville tonight. Weather looks good. Another 7 p.m. first pitch. After tonight, drive back home Friday night. Rough night for the parent team last night. So bad, really, for that team. Not so bad if you're a Reds fan, though. Tucker Barnhart got it started. Not 1, not 2, not 3. They scored 10 runs at the bottom of the second. All 9 Reds crossed the plate. It's a parade that Cincinnati hasn't seen since the days of the Big Red Machine. Got to go back to 1975, last time every Red scored in the inning. Reds won last night 11-6. Hey, finally tonight, first and foremost, back to Colts camp. There's a reason why they only allow so many photographers on the sidelines these days. That's new Colt Devin Funchess going up against quarterback Jalen Collins. Funchess into the team's photographer. Luckily, everyone's okay. Perhaps they're the luckiest, the Colts, who nearly saw that 1-year, $13 million contract go up in smoke. Just like that. Devin's okay. Grandparents' Day tonight on the news at 11. Until then, the news at 6 continues after that.
The Mayor's
discount. Last evening, some spectacular rainbows. That's a possibility to the south this evening, as you still have some departing rain showers. It's sunshine for all of us next few days.
Thank you, Kevin.
And thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We'll see you at 7.